Part 2. Reawakening the Filipino Soul. When love of God becomes love of country. Faith and patriotism are not separate loves. They are two flames of the same fire. When the Filipino heart remembers God, it also remembers home, the land, the people, the stories that shaped its spirit. This part is a call to awaken what history tried to bury. Our moral compass, our courage to care, and our belief that true change begins with the soul of a nation renewed. 1. Becoming Filipino again. Remembering who we are. We have forgotten who we are, a people once known for faith, hospitality, and honor. We have lived our trademark as a people, Christian faith, unparalleled hospitality, and deep honor, virtues exemplified by our ancestors and heroes. These same traits continue to shine through the Filipino diaspora. Our overseas Filipino workers populate the bare and empty churches of Europe and the world, rekindling the warmth of prayer where faith has grown cold. They bring not only labor, but life and light, transforming loneliness into community and work into witness. We export not just manpower, but the musical talent and ingenuity that spring from the joy of our people. Wherever a Filipino goes, a song, a smile, and a spark of faith soon follow. Yet somewhere along the way, we have begun to forget. In chasing wealth and modernity, we sometimes lost sight of the values that once made us strong: humility, compassion, and gratitude. We became too familiar with convenience and too distant from conscience. To become Filipino again is to return to the heart, to remember that our true power is not in what we have, but in who we are. It is to rebuild with honesty, to serve with kindness, and to lift one another through bayanihan, that sacred bond of shared burden and shared blessing. Because to be Filipino is to reflect God's love in action, in every song sung abroad, every prayer whispered in a distant land, and every act of faith that tells the world, we may be scattered, but we are never lost. 2. Rizal's pen and the power of one voice. During the Filipino revolt against the Spaniards, one man stood apart. While others took up arms, Dr. Jose Rizal chose a different weapon: the pen. He believed that before a nation could be freed from tyranny, it must first be freed from ignorance. So instead of leading troops into battle, he led minds into awakening. Rizal did not raise a sword. He raised a pen. One man, one voice, one truth, and an empire trembled. His writings, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, became more powerful than bullets. They exposed the moral decay of the oppressors and stirred the conscience of a people long taught to bow their heads. He proved that true revolution begins not with violence, but with conscience. He saw that the real battle was not only for land or liberty, but for the soul of the Filipino, to believe again in his worth, his dignity, and his God-given purpose. Rizal's courage was not born of hatred, but of love. Love for truth, for country, and for God. But rebuilding a nation's soul is not an overnight task. Change rarely comes through one grand act. It grows through thousands of small, unseen sacrifices. An honest worker, a kind teacher, a prayer whispered in traffic, a citizen who refuses to give a bribe. When these small lights unite, darkness loses its grip. This cannot be done quickly. It will take generations for the seed of conscience to take root and grow strong. So where do we begin? We start with the youth, whose moral fibers are still being formed, whose hearts remain tender, whose capacity for change is still pliant. If they are taught to think critically, act with integrity, and love their country with both heart and mind, then Rizal's work continues. The revolution he began with ink and courage must live on, in classrooms, in families, and in every Filipino who refuses to surrender to corruption and apathy. The call is not to relive the past, but to revive its spirit, to awaken the Rizal within us all. Because in every generation, there must rise another who dares to speak truth, even when silence is safer. The power of one voice can still move a nation. The question is, will it be yours?